Pavel, when I wrote those books, even the internet was still in a dream to most people. The web and everything wasn't around. I don't think we had email, or maybe we had an early form. I can't remember. Um, we certainly didn't think of the possibilities of ebooks and apps being so ubiquitous now. Um, what do you think about the market for those apps? Is it different from the market for the people who like to read the print book, or does it supplement it? And also, what are the different challenges? Because what we're willing to read on the page of a book isn't the same as what we want to see on a screen. So I'm kind of curious about those two particular differences in the way it has to be
Yeah,
presented.
yeah. And this is very interesting topic. I was thinking about it a lot because, of course, with the internet, you have much better reach and you can offer people the same content that you could deliver with the book, but they don't need to pay for the transport and they don't need to wait, right? They just have
Mhm.
it, the same content, the same set of letters, right? They have
Yeah.
it on their screen. But from the other hand, it's more if the digital content is composed in the wrong way, it's very difficult to read. For example, for me, books on the laptop, this is impossible to read because there is a big wall of text. And okay, with book, I can just focus on the book, sit, be and read a lot of pages, sitting like 1 or 2 hours. But with the computer, this is a different story. So I was thinking about how to do it to merge these two factors. And first, I thought that we need to split the text to the smaller parts because people got used to read the Facebook posts,
Hmm.
to read Twitter posts that are very short, right? And they are just, we are scrolling, we are clicking. So I started to make it with Whispers Beyond the Stars, splitting the text to the small parts that fits to one screen, and it got some nice ratio from reading to doing to
Hmm.
clicking, right? And I try to do the same with Dead Amongst the Dead Men. So let's see how it works. And also there is an additional factor. There is big screen and small screen. I mean, with uh, I think that from the visual point of view, this UX should be very well planned because also if you have very big screen, you expect to have something on it. So that's why we put the full screen backgrounds, right?
Hmm.
And these backgrounds are changing. There are 15 backgrounds there, and they are changing depending on the location you are there. But also you have smaller window with text and the text is not big. So I think these two things play together.
I thought of something else, which was when I did the original flowcharts, I did them on big pieces of paper and drew them tiny little lettering and everything. And um, you showed me when we were doing the app a beautiful constellation of sections um, that opened in a browser. Um, did you code that directly from the app, or did you get Claude or something to produce that? Because I thought this is a fantastic asset since I'd lost the original flowcharts to be able to re-explore the physical shape of the book in that way.
Yes, yes. Oh, this constellation of the chapters, it was something that AI helped me to do it
Hmm.
because what we had let's say flat file with a lot of sections
Hmm.
connected with the links inside the document, right? So what AI did, it read it and converted it into graph database. So once it had a graph database with all the connections inside, it was very easy for AI to produce these HTML files where you could see the whole constellation and you can do many operations on that, seeing how they connect. And I'm not sure if you can also move them left and right. I don't remember that,
Well,
but
but it must have been very useful for figuring out where the backgrounds would go because you can actually physically see clusters, galaxies, as it were, of sections and then long connections to another section. So you can figure out, well, this is the bit when they're at sea, this is the bit when they're on a ship, and I thought that was fascinating. Another thing with apps. There's a very good podcast that a guy called Hieronymus J. Doom does of he does playthroughs of game books and then he'll do a very interesting critique of the rules and the story. And he often refers to, because I think he plays print game books, he often refers to what he calls the sausagey finger bookmark, which he means keeping a finger in several pages and going back when you get killed. Now, you obviously you can't do that with an app, but I think you can in Down Among the Dead Men. How does that work?
well, we did it with with saving the game after each section change, and I read in the internet the opinion on your game that it is very difficult. And the people were stopping in the middle because they were killed a lot. It's like with
Okay. Yes.
Heart of Ice, that also is recognized as very difficult. So I thought that maybe we can introduce similar mechanism that we had in Whispers Beyond the Stars, where we had this wake up from this nightmare mechanism. But it's a little bit simpler because also I think these choices are a little bit simpler in that Among the Dead Men. So right now it's like when you die, you can just wake up and you are always set back 5 text sections before. And it works with in many cases when you die, but not in these cases when they've put the end at the end. Because I
Ah,
understand when there you put the end, this is the end,
right.
and
Yeah.
this is the end of the story, right? So really,
Ah, so
the
really
players
it
again, right?
it's covering cases where because I always thought that when you die of attrition, where you just run out of life points, that's a disappointing end. An actual story end is good, but just I just kind of fizzled out like a battery running flat. That's not so much fun. So that's an interesting way of, and of course it presumably removes any keywords or items that you picked up in those 5 sections. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
good. That
So, so
if I'd known
because
I was going to be
save
writing
like
apps.
every save contains the current state of the game. So if you are moving 5 steps back, you are just reverting the state of game from
Yes.
5 chapters ago.
Yeah, good. Well, yeah, I mean
So I
that's it.
also it will help more people to to complete the game, to finish the game, because I must tell you that I first time when I played without this, it was also difficult for me to finish it.
Well, I think if I'd, back then game books we tended to think people would replay the game book again and again. And of course, if I were writing them now, I mean, I almost always like Vulcanverse. It's very hard to get killed. You come back every time. There's a penalty, as it were. It's getting reincarnated, but it's almost impossible to get permanently killed. You can reach those story ends, but um, that's because we design things differently today, and I think it's good to bring that into the present. It's kind of like when they make a movie of a book, and I always think you can't just film the book. You have to make a different thing based on the book. And similarly, making an app based on a game book shouldn't just be here's the book slap on a phone or on a desktop. It's why I didn't ever really like seeing little dice rolling around on an app because I kind of think, yeah, you have to use dice when you're playing a book, but the dice don't really exist in the story world. They shouldn't be there on the app.
Yeah, and I had the same feeling. I was playing the apps of Tin Man Games that they are making very nice apps, game book apps, but I had a problem with these dice because if I shoot dice, I usually just throw the dice. I like to have them in hand, right? And I would like also to calculate it, and I feel that I have some influence. if everything is automated, then I'm just losing the interest. I'm losing
Yeah.
the connection with the game, right? Because something is calculated there. I really don't like to follow that, and then finally there is some output, but this is not dependent on me. I just lose the agency here.
Yes, and we're not used to in computer role-playing games, for example, having random dice rolls much. We expect a sword to do a certain amount of damage. It's just about how often you hit the goblin or whatever. I think Choice of Games found an interesting way. That was kind of like Heart of Ice or Down Among the Dead Men in that they're diceless. And Inkle found a very good solution in Sorcery, where you actually have a kind of trade-off mechanic in the combats, which isn't purely like a dice roll. It's a kind of decision as to how much you're committing, and that makes it much more. It feels like it's skill based, and that you need the player to
Yeah.
feel involved in those decisions.
So I definitely agree with you that if we are moving the uh, game book to the app, we really need to think about all these mechanisms because some of the if the like your interactive fiction book, um, this mechanic is very lightweight. But if we have a really heavy mechanics, oh, we really need to think how to do it because it just does not work.
Yeah, yeah.